Oh, what's up GameLeap? It's the Jizz, and in today's video we have a special one for you because the 12.5b patch notes have been released and the changes are actually now live. And some of these changes, especially the buffs, we're going to talk about some of the champions in this video, which I'm super excited about, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing. And in this video, of course, we will be revealing the 15 best champions for the next couple of weeks for 12.5b itself. And if you want to master any of the champions, guys, in this video, make sure you check out GameLeap.com, which of course is our official website, and that's linked in the description and comment section. And on the website, you will find challenger players and coaches uploading up to 20 videos a week for your benefit. So make sure you get that exclusive access by signing up, and let's get into the 15 most broken champs for 12.5b. Now, starting us off, we have a champion who has kind of been indirectly nerfed because the best build for Senna previously was going Locket of the Iron Solari with Redemption, but Locket now has been nerfed. So the Consecrate passive and also the actual shield from the active, this is not going to be as impactful. But to be honest, Senna is in such a strong position as a support because of the 20% slow in your Q, which of course you're maxing first, but Senna will still be fine because you can still go Eclipse, you can go Kraken Slayer, you still have other viable mythic items, but just because her best build has been nerfed a little bit, Senna has dropped down to number 15. Now, one champion who is featuring for the first time in ages on this list is because he got buffed in 12.5b, and this is Lucian. So what Riot have done is increase your attack damage per level. So at level 18, you're getting an extra 10 AD, and this is big. This gives you the scaling that you kind of lacked before because Lucian is one of the best early game champions, so now you have a bit more power in the mid to late game. And what Riot have also done is buff the AD ratio in your Vigilance passive. This means that with a support who can buff you constantly, like a Nami, like a Sona, Lucian is going to be terrorizing champions in the bot lane, and these two buffs just sound so good on him. Now, of course, he is kind of a close range champion, so the win rate probably isn't going to reflect that, but if you can play Lucian, especially those of you in higher relos, these sound like massive buffs, and this is why Luce is coming in at number 14. Now, ahead of Lucian, we have another close range attack damage champion, and this is Akshan for the mid lane. And you can see these numbers in high elo with this rune page. There's a 60% win rate with his mythic shield bow and the Wit's End and Tarby's Rush. He has close to an 80% win rate in 50 matches. This champion, despite getting nerfed, this champion, despite shield bow and Wit's End getting nerfed, like, he's still too good. That's just the way it is. But it's interesting here that the best skill path to go on Akshan is to actually max your Q first, because this is all about wave clear and harassing the enemy champion in the mid lane. But I still would recommend maxing your heroic swing first if you're against a ranged champion. This gives you a lot more kill potential if they do stuff up or use an important cooldown, but regardless of whatever you max first, Akshan with this rune page, shield bash to buff the shield in your passive, he is just way too good still, so he comes in at number 13. Now, ahead of Akshan, we have a new addition to the top 15, and just like Lucian, this champion resides in the bot lane, and this is Draven, who is getting buffed in 12.5b, so all of you Tyler 1 fans should be cheering at this. So what Riot have done is increase your base attack damage by 2, and this may look really minimal, but trust me, this is not. This is a big chunk of power, and for a champion who already hits hard enough in the early laning phase, this is going to push Draven into OP territory, which is why he's on this list. Remember as well, this will work with your spinning axe, so this will deal more damage too, and when you run Hail of Blades, if you can get 3 of those attacks off very quickly, the buff in 12.5b is going to be very noticeable, so Draven comes in at number 12. But beating Draven to number 11 on this countdown, well, we have another newcomer, which is exciting, and to be honest, it's impossible for me not to put Yorick on this countdown, because even in high elo, which is where these stats are from, he is performing incredibly well, and that's mainly because of Hullbreaker. This has not been nerfed for melee champions still, but for Yorick, who's one of the best split pushers in the game, it is ideal. Pair this with Trinity Force, and ever since this got buffed, so it's giving you more HP, it's very valuable for Yorick because, to be honest, you have enough innate damage in your kit, and there's also a couple of nice bug fixes to this patch as well in 12.5b, so Yorick with Ignite and Teleport comes in at number 11. Now, starting off the top 10, guys, we're going to head back to the bot lane here and talk about one of the many supports on this countdown, and this is Blitzcrank. And to be honest, I'm not going to elaborate that much on why Blitz is on this list, because in the bot lane meta at the moment, Enchantresses are very good, so Blitzcrank, because one rocket grab is probably going to lead to a kill, has so much kill pressure. You can snowball like crazy. Just remember that if you're against these ranged champions and ranged supports, if you're against a tankier support, engaged support, make sure you take Aftershock. And you might be thinking, well, what about the Locket of the Iron Solari nerf? You can just go Shurelya's Battle Song instead, no worries. But beating Blitzcrank to the number 9 position on this countdown, this is one of the strongest junglers in the game, and this is Hecarim. And this champion across all elos is just a very deadly champion. By going the Chemtech Muramana route, not only do you have the tankiness, the movement speed, but you also have the damage because of Muramana, so not only are you very hard to bring down because of your tankiness, but you can still pretty much one-shot squishy enemy champions. Also, Hecarim is one of the best champions at punishing the enemy laner's mistakes, because if they misstep, you can get to the lane quicker than anyone, and before all the Rammus mains pipe up. But Hecarim, the clear speed, the engage, the tankiness, the damage, he pretty much has it all, so he comes in at at number 9. Now coming in at number 8, we're heading back to the bot lane for this pick, and this is Renata Glask. And even though this champion has been nerfed a couple of times by Rito, just look at these stats for me. For a champion who gets played an awful lot, to have a win rate around 52%, it speaks volumes to how good this champion is. And because lots of supports are going to get hit by the Locket of the Iron Solari nerf, well, as Renata, you go Shurelya's because of the movement speed and the ability haste, because if you can get multiple Zillion ults off during a team fight, in other words, your W, your bailout, which you're maxing second, you can solo carry those team fights. Also, the ultimate, just the way it works, like you can force an enemy champion to attack their own team. This is still in the game in 12.5b, so Renata fills the number 8 position. Now coming in at number 7, we're heading to the other side of the map, and we're going to talk about Trundle in the top lane. Of course, you can play Trundle in the jungle, but what kind you access the top lane Trundle can? Well, that's Hullbreaker, of course, because this item on melee champions still is exactly the same. And for Trundle, just like Yorick, he is one of the best split pushers. His Subjugate is an extremely dangerous tool, and when you pair this with Lethal Tempo for melee champions, which is still going to be very easy to proc on Trundle because your Chomp, your Q, you get to the max axe, you get the extra range, you can hunt down anyone as well with your Frozen Domain. He is just too good of an abuser with the melee Lethal Tempo and the current iteration of Hullbreaker, so Trundle comes in at number 7. Now coming in at number 6 on the countdown, we're going to head to the mid lane this time and talk about Veigar, because even though the little blue mage has been nerfed a few times by Rito, in terms of his armor, in terms of his E cooldown, he is still absolutely dominating in every elo, and to be honest, even as an AP carry bot lane, the armor nerfs haven't really done anything. Because there are 2 enemy champions you can ensnare with your Event Horizon, it means you can get 2 kills and not just 1, and set up ganks for your jungler, set up plays for your support. He is just so versatile. But in the mid lane, we want to be taking Predator with Ingenious Hunter, which is going to lower the cooldown of our Everfrost, so we can lock down champions with our Event Horizon. Just be sure to take an ability haste shard in your minor runes, and also max your E second. This is very important, and Veigar comes in at number 6. Now starting off the top 5 countdown, guys, and if you do enjoy these countdown videos where we also give you the runes, the builds, the summoner spells and all that, so you can just jump into your game straight away with this information, let us know by smashing that like button. And starting off the top 5, we have Janna, and ever since Riot gave her an update at the start of the season, Janna has been killing it. I mean, pair Glacial with your new Howling Gale, it is just too broken. But also notice that we're running Revitalize in our runes, because that's going to buff our healing and shielding power from our Eye of the Storm and our Monsoon. This means our allied champions who we do want to buff and actually carry us to the W are going to stay alive for longer, so they can deal more damage. Just make sure to run Moonstone Renewer as your mythic item, and you're good to go. Now coming in at number 4, we have a champion who many of you may have expected to still be number 1, and this is Riven. But for Riven, the reason she isn't number 1 is because she can't really use Hullbreaker. I guess you could, but it's probably a waste of an item because there are lots of better options, especially since 12.3, where Riot buffed all the major items you want to go. So we're talking Gordrinker with more AD, we're talking Death's Dance, Black Cleaver, more of Malmortius. These items are just too broken on Riven. Just make sure you run Ignite instead of TP, because top lane at the moment, ever since TP got changed in 12.1, it really is an island. So there's actually a lot more emphasis on winning lane. Now starting off the top 3, we're heading to the jungle, and the best jungler for 12.5b, well, he's going to continue to be the best jungler, and this is Kha'Zix. And for the Cockroach, this champion is just Gigabuster. I don't know how else to put it. The damage you deal with the isolation is still way too broken, and in lower elos, enemy players just don't know how to punish Kha'Zix because he is very weak until level 3. You can invade him, you can put pressure on him, but for the most part, they're going to let you hit level 3 free of charge, and then you can gank, you get a kill, you start snowballing, you get level 6, and the game is already over. Now, a little interesting debate with Kha'Zix is whether you go Gordrinker or whether you do go Prowler's Claw or Dustblade, and to be honest, I think if you're running First Strike, it's better to go high damage, so Prowler's Claw or Dustblade, but if you're running Conqueror, because you feel as if you need it against a tankier team, then of course go Gordrinker with Black Cleaver. These two items are nuts at the moment on Kha'Zix, so Bugs Black comes in at number 3. Now, the second best champion in the game, guys, is actually a champion who got nerfed in 12.5, but she's still the best mid laner and the second best champion on the Rift, and this of course is Ahri. And even though your Charm and your W got nerfed in 12.5, does this really matter? You're still dealing easily enough damage, you're not going to run out of mana anytime soon, you still have the mobility, the setup, the kill pressure, you have everything. There's no real hard counters either, so you can pick Ahri in any game and be sweet. Just be sure to take your W at level 1, because this is something lots of people don't do. It's a very useful ability at level 1 and gives you a lot of trading, but apart from this, there should be no other real surprises, so Ahri is the second best champion on the Rift, but she is beaten to the number 1 position by a champion who is outperforming Riven at the moment, which is when you know this champion is beyond busted, and this is Tryndamere. And the reason Tryndamere is simply number 1 is because he can make use of Hullbreaker and Riven cannot. Now, I know that at the bottom of the page you're looking at, the items, they don't actually recommend Hullbreaker, but I recommend going Hullbreaker after you have the attack speed from Greaves, Gale Force, and Navori Quick Blades. So get this as your 4th item. This makes you unkillable, it makes you a lot stronger in the split push, because who wants wants to teamfight as Tryndamere. Create that pressure in the side lane, and because lethal tempo, just like I said for Trundle, is still saying the same for melee champions, Tryndamere can access the attack speed as well as anyone. Just remember to max your Q first and play around your sustain, because that is another big reason why this champion is so broken. So Tryndamere is the #1 for 12.5B, and let us know guys your thoughts on the countdown. I'd love to hear what you have to say down below in the comments, and make sure if you haven't already to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future Season 12 daily content. And until tomorrow's daily upload, this has been the Jizz.